Hello and welcome to today's video. We're going to cover patch 13.3 and look at which teams are most benefited and hurt by this patch. The way I look at this, all buffs are created equally, all nerfs are created equally. I do not get into the weeds when it comes to stats and things like that. I was listening to Riot Devs and I kind of consider it similarly that when you look at the level of play and how patches affect things, you have low elo, high elo, pro play in the eastern regions, and then pro play in the west and minor regions, all four being affected differently by buffs and nerfs. But I think it's simpler just to do it this way. So if it's a buff, it's a champion the team has played in the past, the player has played in the past, the last time it was meta. Nerf means if the team has played it recently, it may drop out of their options in draft. So in the LPL, LNG are very happy to see this. This patch covers Alistar, Braum, J4, Cal, Kane, LeBlanc, Nautilus, Pike, Rakan, Thresh, and Trundle. All those champions have seen some sort of buff. Annie, Amumu, Kassadin, K'Sante, and Zac nerfed. So majority of teams, as you see here, are on the happy side of things. LNG, Alistar, Braum, Nautilus, Pike, Rakan, and Thresh, all four Hung, are buffed. Hung, a very, very engage-oriented support. Played a lot of engaged champions last split, as well as some, glorified ranged engaged supports like Rakan, Pike. Alistar is not ranged, but Alistar is obviously a tank-oriented support. Lee Sin and Trundle, two junglers that down there. Lee Sin and Trundle, two junglers that Tarzan has played last year that were also buffed. EDG, Braum, Nautilus, Rakan, and Thresh, all for Mako, have been buffed, and then JJ's Lee Sin and LeBlanc for Fofo have all been buffed. So not a lot of players are going to be featured on the LeBlanc buff. Not a ton of people played it last year often. Sometimes people play it once or twice, but I'm not going to include that on there compared to those that played it quite a few times that clearly show preference towards the champion. Fofo being one of those players. Weibo just lost to Thunder Talk. They're happy to see this patch. Crisp has played Nautilus, Rakan, and Thresh in the past. Last year playing them with BLG. And then Cal for the Shy. Cal was played a bit last summer, the Shy being one of the biggest proponents of playing it, so it ends up being listed there. Not everybody has a top laner that played Cal enough last year. Lee Sin for Karsa, and then Xiaohu's LeBlanc as well. So each lane having some impact by this patch for Weibo, and maybe they come out of this meta shift ahead a bit. As far as disappointed, FPX, they come out as a wash, a net zero. Cal for Xiaohu is a champion he's played in the past. Hacker plays Lee Sin quite often. But then this split, they've played a lot of K'Sante and Kassadin so far. So those two champions being dropped out of their pool, I feel like that has been like a win con for FPX is Kassadin. They are only 1-4, and I'm pretty sure that win was because of Karis Kassadin. So FPX kind of have to figure things out. LCK, we have D plus Kia. Kellen's Nautilus and Rakan are buffed. So he's happy to see that. Maybe that'll allow them to be able to transition from this non-Lucian Nami bot lane meta into something else with Deft. Lee Sin, Kane, Trundle, J4, all for Canyon. I included Kane on there because he played it twice at Worlds. If he has the balls to play it there, he has the balls to play it now. Where not anybody else really played it more than once. I think Inspired played it once last year, but I'm not including it because he only played it once. It was a one-off. So that's a thing. LeBlanc for Showmaker is also a champion we may see more of for D+. DRX desperate for DRX are desperate for any sign of hope, and maybe this meta shift can help them. Nautilus and Rakan for Barrel are both buffed. Cal for Rascal. Lee Sin and Trundle for Krakow, and then Fate's LeBlanc. I think Fate played LeBlanc more than anybody else last year. So DRX, maybe this helps them edge out, you know, some of the bottom teams. And a couple of those bottom teams are listed here on the nerfed section. So maybe 13-3 can benefit them. Now keep in mind, rookies I do not include on here. Players that played in ERLs, Academy, anything like that last year, I'm not including them on here because, I mean, when you play a champion at a lower level of play, maybe that does not translate directly to major region play. Nongshim Red Force, disappointed by the patch. Peter played Nautilus last year when he did play with the LCK team. And then Kassadin and Kaysante have been picked a few times by Nongshim as well, and both of those have been nerfed. KDF, Kaysante for Dudu's been nerfed, obviously. Dudu did not play Cal, and then we have 4 players that did not play at all last year. So KDF, there's not a lot of champ information there. LEC, Mad Lions, happy to see the patch. Hilly, like Hang, but Hilly obviously has been around a lot longer. Has played a lot of engaged champions. That is his bread and butter. Braum, Nautilus, Pike, Rakan, and Thresh, all buffed to some degree. This should allow Mad Lions to get a little, you know, out of the box in the bot lane. Elyoya's, Lee Sin, and Trundle, also viable. Team Heretics is the other team that is listed here. I only am including teams that are still alive, I guess. And in the LEC, not everybody's live anymore, right? Fnatic and Excel are dropped out. Heretics, Mursa played Nautilus, Rakan, and Thresh last year, so those are all buffed. And then Yankos, Lee Sin, Trundle, J4, all buffed. So Yankos has some options. Mursa has some options. And then, of course, Eevee's Kaysante has been nerfed. That's obviously one of the more notable Kaysante players we've seen this year thus far. And then the LCS, we have a couple teams. EG, happy to see this buff. Vulcan plays Alistar, Nautilus, Rakan. Inspired plays Lee Sin, J4, and Trundle. And then Jojo Pune plays LeBlanc. So, EG, happy to see 13-3. Definitely not overly disappointed by the patch. The nerfs don't really affect them all that much. And a lot of buffs. And that's kind of the thing. Like, we can say, well, these buffs and nerfs don't matter and this and that. And it's like, yeah, but some players just really don't play these champions. You know, it just doesn't fit them. And that will equal things out. That allows some players to play things that they're more comfortable on. They're more, you know, I don't want to say more better. That's not grammatically correct. But they are just outright more impactful on these champions. Immortals, disappointed. Revenge has played Kaysante a few times. So, you know, I did this video because there's rumors that 13-3 was going to start this week in the LPL. They weren't going to do 13-1B. They were just going to go from 13-1 to 13-3. So I wanted to get this out before tomorrow because LPL tends to switch it up on Wednesday or Thursday. So I wanted to do it now. Just get it out of the way. So if you like this video, like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.